So now in this video I thought we would simplify things for those of you that seem to like that. So first off, the power supply is off. We're going to be using 5 volts. This is kind of an introductory electronics video. I have current limited 20 milliamps from this power supply because more than that is bad for LEDs. So these alligator clips, they're plugged into the power supply down there, and when I turn this on, it will power the board at 5 volts with a maximum of 20 milliamps of current. We don't limit the current though with the power supply on purpose. That's just in case we accidentally wire something wrong. So I'm going to put this resistor here, and this is a 220 ohm resistor because we're using 5 volts. That's a good resistance to limit current through the LED, to protect the LED from burning out and also prevent the resistor from overheating. So we got the long lead, that's the anode, short lead, the cathode. You want to put it in the right way. Long lead towards the more positive or red right there, and short lead, the cathode, more to the blue, the negative, or often black. So with the breadboard we have these power rails. These power rails are not connected to each other, so I have jumpers connecting them to each other, keeping those alligator clips far from each other so that they do not short circuit. When I turn the power on, now the red LED lights up, and you can see we got about 10 milliamps of current approximately. And now we are going to make a modification. So normally you don't just, light a load, in this case an LED or power load, with the power supply and then turn the power supply off when you don't want that load to be powered anymore. Usually you have some kind of control, and that switch really likes this breadboard. So we have a push button switch right here. So I'm going to move this up there, and there you can see the purpose of this. So we have the top 2 pins are always connected, bottom 2 pins are always connected. So now I have to be careful what I plug into this side. I don't want to plug it in to the top row or the bottom row unless I want to plug it in there. So I don't want to accidentally plug something. So now we have a switch. Right now it is open. There is no connection between the top and the bottom. When I press it, now it's closed. Now there's a connection. The current can flow through there. So we have a control, in this case a push button switch. There's many other kinds of switches, but these fit into the breadboard pretty well. And most of my circuits, if you see LEDs, the purpose of the video is not so much the LED. The vast majority of the time, it's what's controlling the LED or multiple LEDs or whatever. So now we're going to come back to the breadboard and powering the breadboard. I have these header pins right there, and the side that's plugged in the board is longer than what I was clipping the alligator clips to. I have header pins that I specially ordered that are long on both ends, and that way I can plug the long end into the board, and then there's another long end where I can plug other stuff into it. But for now, what we're going to do is, these are called jumper cables right now, that we were going to the rail, and technically we could leave these here and find another way to power this using the rails, but we're going to take these jumpers here instead of going to the supply rail. Just power the load directly. So I got a red one there. So these are called jumper wires. These longer ones that are flexible and stuff. The little solid ones that come in different lengths and stuff. You can also make your own. I made my own up there. These jumper wires are more flexible. You can plug them into the board. They come with pins on both ends right there. And what we're going to do is just connect the power supply directly to this. And one thing about these, I do this quite often, is you can tack it into the board still, hold it into place to help avoid it from, swinging around and accidentally connecting something if you want to. So we're going to connect that there, and a little hard to aim when you're looking through the camera. And there we go. We can power it directly just like that. We'll zoom back. Sorry about the mess there, but I kind of wanted to show the whole process. And there, so there may be reasons why the current looks a little bit higher right there. This is a cheap breadboard, and so some of the connections may not be as good as a higher quality board or something. So the closer we get to everything and the less connections, it might look a little bit better. But in any case, we now found a different way to make the connections. That was the main point of this segment. So now I put the breadboard jumper cables back into place there. Remember, the long ones are called jumper wires. At least that's what I normally see. And I'm going to plug in the positive side of the power supply to the short pins right there. So the alligator clips will clip to them pretty good, the short ones there. If you're going to plug in something that kind of slides over the holes, you probably want long ends on both sides. Now, we have a 470 ohm resistor for higher voltage, as well as a 1K, but I'm going to show another reason why we might use the 1K resistor. So I'm going to replace the red LED with the blue one, and for some reason some of these holes, I mean, do not really like these pins. So I'm going to replace it with the blue one. There we go. And there you can see, blue is really bright. That's like hurting my eyes. And so we have about the same amount of current going through. Actually, less current because it's dropping some more voltage. The resistor is not the only thing that's limiting current. Ultimately, it limits the current. But the LEDs drop some of the supply voltage. So the blue LED is not going to have as much current as the red LED with this circuit. But we're going to take the 1K. That was really bright. So 1K is the same as 1000. So there is a color coding system for these. Not going to go into detail about that right now. But there you can see the blue LEDs lit up, and you know, somewhere around 1 milliamp. This may be up to a couple like milliamps off. But 1 milliamp is the same as 0.001 amp. So when I say 1 milliamp, that's what I mean. It's the same thing. So if you have 1000 milliamps, that's the same as 1 amp. But there you can see the blue LED is still really bright, even though not much current is going through. If I put the red one back, and remember, the long lead, the anode, has to be more positive, short lead, the cathode, more negative before it will light up. There you can see it's not hardly bright at all. So that's 1000. Another reason why we might use 1000 ohms is for 12 volts. So we're stepping up the voltage, you know, quite a bit here. So 12 volts is not a high voltage as in dangerous, but when it comes to like lighting LEDs and stuff, it's kind of a high voltage for lighting LEDs when you're protecting them with a resistor. So yeah, there you can see now we raised the voltage, but we have about 4 times, a little more than 4 times the resistance. It's getting us, you know, close to about the same amount of current right there. So when it comes to the LED brightness, it's primarily the current that's flowing through it that determines the brightness. Again, don't exceed 20 milliamps of current. So that was for either red or blue. Now, at 12 volts, you could go higher too. You can always go higher. The LED just won't be as bright. We're going to keep this simple. Now, we have 470. That's the minimum value I recommend for, let's go back up to 9 volts right there. So that I typically recommend. It might not be the absolute minimum. You might be able to get away with a little bit lower when you're working with these quarter-watt resistors right there. That's the primary thing, the wattage for how hot the resistors are going to get. That's the current times the voltage across the resistor, which since the red LED drops 2 volts out of the 9 volt supply there, we got 7 volts across the resistor times this amount of current, 0.006 amps, if this is accurate. So, in any case, that's with the 1K resistor. That is a little bit higher than we need if the red LED is just not quite bright enough. We can take a 470 ohm resistor. And there you can see we got more current and the LED is brighter right there. Again, the blue LED is going to be really bright. So, you know, we probably still want to use the 1K, maybe even a 2.2K, 2200 ohms or something for the blue one, because it's just naturally brighter even when it has a little bit less current than the red LED. So the red LED, as I said before, it's dropping about 2 volts out of that 9 volts. So it has more current going through it than the blue LED will. The blue LED will have less current because it drops some of the voltage. So it's taking up some extra power to light up, absorbing it in the form of voltage there. There you can see it's really bright, but lower current. So it's a little harder to get the current to go through it, but it gets a whole lot brighter when you do. So it's more energy efficient. It takes less current to get much brighter, to be honest, you know. But for the same brightness, it's much less current for the blue LED than the red LED. So in any case, this is all basically the basic stuff you need to know. I didn't go into great detail on this. I do a lot more in my other videos. So I thought I would make this just kind of a simple, easy to follow video for people completely brand new to electronics that don't want too much stuff thrown at them, but want to understand the basic principles of electronics. So we gotta get the current to flow through the circuit to get it to do something. In this case, light the LED. We have a control, that's the switch. There's circuitry that controls what happens with the load and other stuff. But the most simple is the mechanical switch right there. And push buttons fit on the breadboard pretty well. There's all kinds of mechanical switches as well. So we got the load, it's doing something useful or interesting. In this case, it's providing light, a blue light to be specific. If we want a red light for some reason, then we use the red LED. So we have different colored LEDs, and they have slightly different electrical properties, but for the most part they operate the same. And then the resistor, that's protecting. So right now we got 9 volts. That's a good resistance to protect the LED from 9 volts. 200 is probably a little too low, and but you can always go higher. You know, more protection is even better. It's keeping the current going through the LED from being too high, as well as preventing the resistor from overheating. So that's wattage. That's a little bit more complicated, so we're not going to go into that in this video. But if you use the recommended value resistor that you are told, you know, you should learn how to read schematics and stuff, then the resistor should be plenty safe. So 220, it says R there, but that's 220 ohms. That's the label. There's also the coloring. You can learn the color code, and I grabbed the 470 out of here again. It's different coloring, so I can usually take a quick glance and know the value there. So I don't have the color code perfectly memorized. I make mistakes once in a while. So that says 1K. If you have plastic baggies, so there's a paper on there that has the value. But with these plastic baggies, it's good to, you know, just use a black marker to write notes on there. So I got the 1K there in case I can't see it on the paper. So in any case, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed. I usually set the power supply back to 5 volts. And also I can show you really quick. So I'm going to go way too high in a voltage right here. And so what's going to happen is when I press the button, there you can see we're limiting current to like 20 milliamps. That's what that is doing right there. And so don't do that. Avoid doing that. I'm just doing that for a demonstration. Let's go here to the voltage. So it says 21 volts, but there you can see when I press the button, it drops the voltage down. That's how it's preventing too much current from going through there. So again, this was just kind of a demonstration to show you how limiting the current can protect the circuit. I would have definitely damaged the LED, and if I did this long enough, the resistor, something bad will happen. It might catch fire or something if I did it long enough. So it's best to take safety precautions to limit current. But in any case, that should be a good introduction to basic electronics, and you know, everything else kind of builds on this for the most part. So hope you enjoyed. Make sure you check out one of the other videos I posted on the screen, and check out the links down below. They all help out a lot. I'll see you in the next video.